Power Women podcast. For your career and your life, no matter what business you're in.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Northern Power Women podcast. I'm Sam Walker, she is Simone Roche. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
Yeah.
I'm delighted. The whole team are here. So team, everyone, Happy New Year! Woo!
Happy New Year!
Northern Power Man's in the kitchen giving me a top up, so sorry, he wasn't as loud on that one.
He's starting the new year as he means to go on. That's very, very good news indeed. Well, look, full disclosure, we are recording before 2021, but we're hoping by the time you hear this, already 2021 is a much, much better year. And do you know what? We know that dates are arbitrary and we know there's still a road ahead of us, but let's just take a moment and feel positive and good about 2021. Yes.
Do you know what? I'm actually really proud of of what we've achieved. I'm proud that because it would have been easy just to press pause. I think it would have been easy just to press pause. And I think I look at everyone on this call with us, and I say we've got all of our team again with us and our volunteers, and people that like Jane. Jane has been probably the person I know longest on this, other than Northern Power Man here. But Jane, our original Lancaster ambassador, who you know as well, Sam. To Javier and Andrew joined us this week, to our brilliant volunteers. We've got really confusing because we've got Rasheen North and a Rasheen South. They're both. It's fantastic, and I'm really grateful. Gina, who's been writing these fantastic blogs, Eleanor, who started volunteering and is now part of the team, Philly, who again started volunteering, is now part of the team, Emma, who's just been a total rock, has been with us for 2 years and couldn't do this without you, and the most magnificent crazy woman in our lives, Alex Cousins, who's been with us on the last kind of year and a bit and helping us kind of through sort of. And I don't think if Alex hadn't been on that journey with us over the last year, I don't think we would have navigated this year as we have. So I think we've always been innovative. We've always, I think, been happy to disrupt and not be afraid to take a risk and stuff. But I think this year has been very sad in many respects, but I'm kind of also really proud of what we have achieved, and switching this pod from monthly to weekly, having Northern Power, man riding, shotgun with me now is fantastic. So, I think there's lots to be proud for, and I know I'll always be a bit more jazz hands, but I think it is also really important that we celebrate the small wins, celebrate the small stuff as well. I think it's massively important, and that's what we're about, isn't it? High five yourself.
100%. Well, look, let's look forward and say, and we're running this all on social media as well, so we'll share the hashtags in a moment, but we want to know from you what you plan to take up in 2021. What do you plan to take up in 2021? Shall we start with the team? Do you know what? Let's go to the wonderful Jane Dalton. Jane, hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How's it treating you so far?
Marvellous. We can't lie. It's still 2020 when we're talking, but let's pretend this awful year is over. And yes, it's brilliant. Yay. So what are you sharing for what are you taking up, Jane, for 2021?
Well, it's something I've been dabbling with in 2020. The whole theory of putting your own gas mask on first. So took some time out when lockdown first hit and thought, right, that's it. I've got to down tools because I've got to get my head around this and what it all means. Took 2 weeks off, which I can't remember the last time I took 2 weeks off running business, and realised it did me so much good in gaining perspective again and getting my creativity back and getting my energy back up. But then thought, well, okay, well, how exactly do I do bits of gas mask throughout the year? And didn't really ever get back to it, was just in full on delivery mode for so many things. So that's my aim for next year is to properly institute looking after myself and making sure I do things like taking regular exercise, whether it's, running or reading or making or something that just takes me away. And the reason, because it felt too selfish to do. If I'm honest, it was one of those things that's like, oh yeah, me time. No, I'll do that eventually. And then I realised the lesson I was leaving and the legacy that was putting on my daughter when she's just starting to revise for her GCSEs, and she's up until midnight saying, but Mum, you work this long. And it was a wake-up call to make me think, I can't keep doing that, because it's a very clear lesson, isn't it, that my health doesn't matter her health doesn't matter. That's really silly. So I think between us, we're going to have to get a lot better at making sure we actually have sleep and, that kind of thing, some basics in place, and make it a regular thing. So whether it's Pilates we take up together or knitting, I don't care, just something we can do in our own time to get ourselves back to who we are.
I love it. Jane's always very good with the advice, isn't she, Simone?
Oh, I know. She should write a book. She should write a book.
One of these days, 2022. I'll put that in for my New Year's resolutions. There you go.
Recorded now. I mean, it's funny actually, Jane. They are absolutely along my line. Mine is self-care and balance. I'm not very good at it. Never have been. And I don't think I could have done it this year, if I'm honest. I think it was a case of just keep motoring. But I've got to, and I am making myself a promise again. This is recorded. Put a bit of self-care and balance in there because I am pretty lousy of it, at it. So yeah, that's definitely mine. But yeah, very yours was far more eloquent than mine. But
funnily enough, mine. The thing I planned to take up for 2021 was saying no. Learning to say no. And that's just incredibly hard. When you work for yourself, because you think, if I say no, someone might not ask again. After 25 years in the industry, I still think that. It doesn't go away. It's so frustrating. But, and when you're in a new country as well, you think, I better not say no to anybody. But also, if you have a pleaser personality that you never want to let anyone down, because again, that's probably been taught to me by my parents as well. Or, don't let anyone down. Always stand up and do your, be present. Which actually is exhausting. You do have to learn, exactly as you said, Jane, to say no. It's okay sometimes to let people down if it ends up you'd be letting yourself down if you go and help them. Do put yourself first sometimes. So I love that. Eleanor, what are you taking up for 2021?
I'm going to take up floristry. I'm going to do it. I don't know why I've never done it before, to be honest, because I love it. But I started making wreaths at the end of 2020, and I've fell in love with it. So everyone has asked me to do their wreath. So if you're around Liverpool, you've probably seen a wreath that I've made on a door. But
wow.
I'm going to branch out. I'm going to do everything. Hire me for your next wedding if anyone's getting married. Come on.
I love that. That's fantastic. And the fact that you just said it's something you love doing is the most important thing we need to do. I'm going to start horse riding. I had this little fantasy of moving to Arizona and becoming a cowgirl, done nothing about it so far because, it's quite expensive. But I've also thought, am I a bit old to get on a horse now? I'm going to do it now. You've inspired me, Eleanor. I love that.
I just like Eleanor talked about branching out when it was a wreath. Was that only me that got the point? Yeah, sorry.
I was in that. Let's speak to you, Alex Cousins. What are you planning to take up in 2021?
The guitar. I'm going to learn to play the guitar.
We're going to get a band.
We're going to get a group. That'll be a laugh. I watched Paul McCartney last night, and he said,
I love him.
He was self-taught, and I thought, well, do you know, I don't fancy lessons then, you see. So I thought I could probably teach myself how to play the guitar. Might as well have a go.
Northern Power Band, right there.
I think it's definitely going to happen now, without a shadow of a doubt.
Booker for the wedding.
Yes.
Wedding.
Yeah.
This is it. We've got a whole new events company going. Does anyone else want to share what they're going to take up for 2021? Yes, Rasheen.
Oh yeah. In 2021, I'm definitely going to be looking into volunteering a lot more and paying it forward, something I've learned at Northern Power Women. I always kind of put it off because I was convinced that I had no time. So when lockdown hit, it was like, there's your time. Go do with it what you will. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot more volunteering, and I know that I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now or be with Northern Power Women if I hadn't have volunteered. So I'm definitely going to be doing more.
That's fantastic. I love that. And we're really grateful because you've been amazing and continue to be amazing.
Do you know what it's time for now then, don't you, Simone? It's time for your moment then, because I did it at the end of last year. You're doing it as the first ones of 2021. We do it on every single episode. It is time for you, Simone Roche, MBE, our great leader, to share your life lessons, please.
I picked the following questions. So the first one for me is, what's the one piece of advice that has really stuck with you? And I do say this all the time, it's that say yes and work it out later. Sometimes, you talked on last episode about going with your gut. And I think there's just something about giving things a try. Nobody ever has that kind of one sort of pass. I think it's really important to just say yes, try new stuff, but work it out later. And also the second thing around it is about building and investing in your network and community. It is never too young to build a community around you, because I think if you build those tribes around you and those people, then you know what, people come together and stuff gets done. And when you are in, you need something, or you can help someone else, I just think that power of that community is so powerful. So they're the two bits for me: say yes, work it out later, and build and invest in your community. Number 2 is, if you had a chance to change a decision in your career, what would it be? I wouldn't change a flipping thing. I had no idea what I wanted to do. It was almost kind of a force to do academia, to do university. Didn't want to do that. Joined the Royal Navy, not knowing whether it was the right thing for me or whatever. And it was the best thing I could ever have done with my life. It was the best thing to leave. I wanted something else. I wanted another adventure. So I think everything I've done, all of the different decisions, setting this business up, in my 40s, again, never ever wanted to run my own business, didn't want all that responsibility. It's so responsibility of a big team on the live podcast. Who knew that would happen? But that I wouldn't change one thing, because I think it's really important to know, but there's no one straight path. There's no one sort of just route to go. So I think I don't regret any of it, because I've learned as I've gone along 100%. What would you tell your 25-year-old self about work-life balance? It is absolutely, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. I've still not learnt it. I'm still appalling at it. But please factor in earlier. So it's great, Roisin, you're talking about, doing more volunteering, and I know that's more impact, but you're doing that because it's something you love. Floristry for you, Ellen, it's something that you love. Playing the guitar, it doesn't matter what it is. It's fine. Don't take someone else's path. Take your own, but build in that self-care bit. It's really important, because if you get broken, there's only one of you, right? So it is 100% a necessity. And again, I'm going to have that tattooed on my ankle so I don't forget it. I'm not going to have it tattooed. Too painful. Too scaredy cat. What difference did having a mentor make to you? Big, massive advocates of mentors. I don't think I ever thought of them as a mentor at the time, but it was that person when I was in the military who said, "Oh, you short northern bird, you've got talent. You should go and be the officer thing." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm a northerner. That's not what we do." And he not only kind of guided me through the door and got me to fill in all the forms and kind of what I would call coaching now, which we just didn't know at the time, but he was with me. He was with me every step. And I think maybe, that's where this whole passion about mentoring and paying it forward and giving back and role models and everything, I think it all comes from that, because everybody could do something. He didn't have to do that, but he did. None of us have to do things, but we do, and we're all passionate about that, supporting other people. So you know what, when I get people go, "Oh, I can't be a mentor," why not? Everyone is a role model to somebody, and everybody can help somebody else. So I think that's so important, whether they're structured, unstructured, whether you're learning from younger people, whether you're learning from older people, it's just so important. So yeah, big fan of the mentoring. And finally, give us an example of when a strong business network came into its own. I'm picking Northern Power Women. I can't. Northern Power Women has stepped up this year. So much has happened. We corral people. We get people together to do good and to make a difference. And this community, from day one, from Jane contacting me in those early days and said, "What can I do? How can I get involved?" From 150 women coming together and getting us round tables this year, never ever let me down, and I hope I don't let them down. So this community is so powerful, and I don't want this to sound cheesy, but it's just so, it's such an authentic, purposeful community, and wouldn't be here without it. I'm just so grateful. But yeah, absolutely thrilled to bits that we have created this Northern Power community.
A round of applause, Simone. Thank you so much. Everyone's clapping, but they're on mute. It's not just me, honestly. Thank you so much for sharing your life lessons. And as ever, we want to hear from you here on the Northern Power Women podcast. It really is the bit that everyone tells us they love the most about the podcast. So don't think that you don't have something to say. You absolutely do. Whatever stage of your career you are at, we would just love to hear from you. Just bob us an email, podcast@northernpowerwomen.com. We will tell you exactly what to do, and we would love to hear from you. So there we go. Another week, the first podcast of 2021. Can we just all have a big cheer, please, from us Northern Power Massive here to say Happy New Year, everyone!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are marching on inwards, resilient to 2021. We will be catching up with you. The next episode of the Northern Power Women podcast is coming your way on Monday, January the 11th. Until then, she's Simone Roche. Bye-bye, Simone.
Yeah, I'll see you this
See
year.
you soon. See you in a minute. I'm Sam Walker, and the Northern Power Women podcast is a What Goes On media production.